Page 66, Chapter 3, Johannes, or John, the Initiator. Verse 1. At that time there came Johannes, the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, who performed the initiation in accordance with the teaching of the prophets, and he taught at the banks of the Jordan, at the edge of the wilderness near the Dead Sea. Page 70, verse 2. And Johannes the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, taught and performed the custom of initiation in accordance with the teaching of the prophets, and in accordance with the old laws of the Ishwish. And he also taught the teaching of the prophets, according to which the way to knowledge was to be prepared, and according to which one who was to be introduced via the initiation rite into the circle of the knowing ones was to be accepted. He taught that the Ishwish's laws must be followed because he is the sole ruler of this human species, and his laws and recommendations are also those of the creation and nature. And he taught that immeasurably higher above the Ishwish stands the creation, the source of the worlds and firmaments, or outer space, universe, and the created creations, or living beings. And so he taught that the genderless creation is the mystery of all mysteries, or the unfathomable. And so, death and life, light and darkness, the remaining, or the creational existence, equals being, and the non-remaining, or the transient, equals being and non-being. And so he taught another time that the Ishwish himself, the ruler of this human species, holds the creation in venerability. And some of the people from Judea, and some people of Jerusalem, went forth to Johannes the Initiator, acknowledging the wisdom of the old laws of the Ishwish and the prophets, and a small group let themselves be led by him in the custom of the initiation rite at the banks of the Jordan. Johannes the Initiator wore a garment made from camel's hair and a leather belt around his loins. His food consisted of locusts and wild honey. While he was initiating a small number of the people, some Pharisees and Sadducees and scribes came to him, who humiliated him with malicious talk. Page 76, verse 10. But Johannes the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, spoke, quote, "You brood of adders, you who told you that you will escape from the future wrath of the disciples who are pious or faithful towards you, once your false and confused teachings become recognized by them. See to it that you bear righteous fruit of repentance, and comprehend or learn the truth of all truth, as is taught by the teaching of the prophets. Turn away from the evil of your confused teachings, which you carry out with arrogance and pursuant with your greed for might and treasures. Do not think just of saying to each other, quote, 'We have Abram or Abraham as father.' I say to you, with his knowledge and with his power, the Ishwish is able to raise up, quote, 'children,' which is only to be understood symbolically, out of these stones, because he is wise about the secret of the creation and its laws. Already the axe has been laid at the root of the trees. Therefore, any tree that does not bring forth good fruit will be hewn down and thrown into the fire, and such will happen to you as your own descendants. You brood of adders, in 2 times 1,000 years, you and your descendants, who pursue their false and confused teachings out of your own haughtiness in your greed for might and treasures, will be summoned, and on account of your lies, punished. So it will be when this human species will know, and when the chaff is separated from the grain. So will it happen in all places of the world. It will be at the time when many of your confused teachings are laughed at, and every human species discovers the truth, which can be given in reality alone, and thus in the laws and recommendations of the creation. This will come to pass when the human species see the singing or whirring lights, or extraterrestrial beamships, again, and when the human being build ships or aircraft that fly, and chariots of fire or rockets that move away or shoot into the firmament or outer space, as is done by the Ishwish and his followers, he and the celestial sons, or extraterrestrials. So thus, the distant descendants of those who, already at an early time, brought and taught us the wisdom and knowledge of the creation, the descendants of those of our ancestors who suggested to us that we should follow the extensive or comprehensive laws of nature and live by them, because even these are the laws of the creation. O you secessionists, you brood of adders, get away from this place, because you are unclean, and you will be cursed, or smitten with errors and evils, and insulted by the human beings, on account of your confused teachings. Get away from this place, because I can by my own accord bring you to repentance only with the old custom of initiation. But he who comes after me is stronger than I, and I cannot be worthy of removing his shoes. He will bring you the initiation with the wisdom of spiritual knowledge and with the fire of truth. He has his winnowing fork in his hand, and he will sweep his threshing floor and gather the wheat into his granary, but he will burn the chaff with the unquenchable fire of truth. The lie can never withstand the truth, which destroys evil in its fire. As Johannes the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, thus spoke, behold, then came Emmanuel from Galilee to the bank of the Jordan to Johannes the Initiator, to be introduced into the initiation by him. Johannes, however, refused him and spoke, quote, it is I who need to receive the initiation from you, because you are more knowing than I, and you come to me? But Emmanuel answered him and said, quote, let it, that it happens so now, because it is fitting for us to fulfill all fairness, since we are both sons of the earth. So Johannes the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, consented and introduced him into the initiation. When Emmanuel had received the initiation, he soon left Johannes the Initiator, or the one who carries out the initiation, and the bank of the Jordan, and behold, a brazenly or metallically shimmering, singing or whirring light, or extraterrestrial beamship of the Plejaren, fell from the firmament and rushed or flew over the Jordan. Consequently, they all fell on their faces and dug or pressed them into the sand, while a voice from the brazen or metallic light or extraterrestrial beamship of the Plejaren spoke, quote, this is my beloved Son, who gives me pleasure. He will be the King of truth and wisdom, by which every terrestrial human species will be knowing, if they will turn to the quote teaching of truth. Behold, after these words, Emmanuel entered into the brazen or metallic light or extraterrestrial beamship of the Plejaren, which climbed into the firmament, surrounded by fire and smoke, and flew away over the lifeless sea or Dead Sea. So thus the singing or whirring of the brazen metallic light soon faded away. After that, Emmanuel was no longer seen for 40 days and 40 nights. Page 88. The discipless, Esther, teaches about love, consonance, and peace. Verse 35. And since Emmanuel had left everyone, the discipless, Esther, came forth and taught the crowd of people. Quote, follow the laws and recommendations, and search for the truth in all that is given in the appearance, or actuality, in reality. Be heedful of your thoughts and impressions, or feelings, and align them to the discovered truth. so that you obtain true knowledge from this. Use your knowledge of the truth, so that you may live it out in your thoughts, and in love, and in peace, in consonance or harmony. Create from your consonance or harmony heedfulness or control for yourselves and for yourself or one's own personality, so that you regulate everything and build or mold everything in the good. So pay attention to everything around you or in the immediate vicinity. So among all your clan or family and relations, and direct or arrange and build or mold everything towards equalization or peace. Bring honor and dignity to all of your clan or family and relations, and bring your companions or friends and acquaintances, and to all people, and bring to your companions or friends and acquaintances, and to all people or human beings, so that you also build or regulate, mold everything there, and bring everything to consonance or harmony. If you do so, you are discerning and skillful or capable, so that you bring consonance or harmony, and peace and fairness among the people. And the discipless Maria Magdalena teaches about affliction, strife, war, and images or idols. Verse 42, quote, "If you carry your affliction and sorrow and worries and other wrong thoughts in you, and therewith wrong impressions or feelings, you offend against the peace in you and against the good and the truth. If you want to be in peace, or want to live in peace, do not pass over or ignore it, and do not turn to conflict or strife, and do not wage wars. Do not create an image or idol of human beings and gods and tin gods, and, thus, do not follow or go after any. But if you, nevertheless, do not act in accordance with this, then you come into a belief and fall victim to it, or you succumb to the belief. So you give yourselves up and become unfree in your thoughts and impressions or feelings, and in your actions."